Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is Erica Loren. Hey, Erica.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. I met Erica at an IPEC retreat earlier this year in New Jersey, and we started talking, and I went, oh my gosh, I got to have her on the show because she's doing a lot of great things with coaching. So let me tell you a little bit about the show. Those of you who don't know, this show is based on Points of View, the coaching game. And the coaching game is something that Erica and I both use. And it's a fantastic tool, and it's 65 cards that are really designed to bring right and left brain thinking together. And the results, I'm sure you will back me up, are just amazing. You'll be walking along thinking, oh, this is the answer, and you're over here. And it's like, oh. So it expands your horizons and changes your perspectives. And that's what we're doing tonight. And I usually have my guest pick a card when they want it to be the theme, but Miss Brave Erica said, no, I'll just pick it on air. And okay, that'll be fun. That'll be even more fun. So, Erica, first, before we do all that, tell me, I know that you are the CEO of Coaching to Greatness, but tell me how you became a coach in the first place. That's always fascinated me because I have a theory that coaching calls who it wants, right?
Coaching calls, I love that.
It knocked on the door and said, hello, Erica.
It did. But first I wanted to say thank you for having me on the show.
No, my pleasure, our pleasure.
This is a treat. Yeah, so a lot of people ask me that question, and well, if I go back to my former career, which I was a dental hygienist, and I was also an instructor at a university, and although I was really having an extraordinary time impacting lives of people and helping them really make a difference for a place on their body, in their body, that many really don't like to think about or talk about or go to get care for. And I found myself really feeling unhappy with the environment, with the kind of the politics of the office, the back and front of the office. You know, you have a business team and then you have a medical team, if you will.
Yeah.
So the clinical team. And that after time, you know, although I loved the patient aspect, I was really becoming quite disenchanted around my abilities to what I could really do because of all the other things going on in the workplace. So I set out to find answers and came across coaching in a really kind of abstract way. So I didn't set out and say, I want to be a coach, you know, and came across it.
I didn't even know what a coach was, actually.
Yeah. I didn't either. And I'd come across an advertisement for a company that was looking to hire people, but they happened to be a coaching company. And I thought, wow, if they're able to produce this kind of student, after reading the advertisement, this would be a company I'd want to work for. So I actually went in the idea thinking that I actually would work for the coaching company.
Wow.
And when I called them up, they said, well, you need to go through the program because you need to experience what we teach in order to really be a part of our culture. And so I started giving it some thought, and I thought, well, let me take a look at this, and I stepped back, and all the questions it was asking were the ones I had answers to. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I champion and I inspire and hold people accountable, and a lot of things that I was already doing in my career, but not formally, obviously, trained in terms of coaching, and realized I really could have what I want and do and make the impact that would really fulfill my life.
Wow. So I won't ask if you got the job because what you got instead was a whole different career, right?
Exactly, exactly.
That's amazing. So and after you finished the training, then what did you think? Did you think, oh, now I'm going to go be the best dental hygienist in the world, or?
No, I actually
that was over.
Probably saved my life. Coaching saved my life in that I had that just incredible experience, as you know, when you go through it for your own personal growth and development, that it just made me see what I was doing in dentistry and how I could actually see where the opportunities were in that moment until I figured out what I wanted to do with it in terms of.
I heard you mention in the dental hygienist position front of the house and back of the house. And that is always, and it's a shame because front of the house is what the customer and the consumers, but back of the house really rules that, you know, so it's like, is that what coaching to greatness, do you deal with that now, and do you help businesses?
Absolutely. So if you know anything about dentistry, although I think it's an absolute incredible contribution to people's health,
Oh, yeah.
it is a very notoriously unhappy environment.
Is it really?
Yes, we have some of the highest
I know,
suicide, divorce, drug abuse rates out there.
serious?
Yeah, and you wonder why. I mean,
Wow.
I get asked that question, like, why do you think that is?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fear involved in that industry. Unfortunately, kind of, we don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, to why it is what it is. But what I can say is that I learned what unhappiness was really well. And
I'm very unhappy when I go to the dentist, but that's on a personal fear level.
Right.
I'm amazed. You would think this is a health profession and you're helping people. And,
right, one would think.
yeah.
And so, to answer your question, how do I help people now, is I guess because I really learned that well, I then subsequently learned what happiness really is and actually how to apply it. And there is a true science of sorts that's called positive psychology. So there are professionals out there, you can even get your PhD in it, in happiness, if you will. And that's what set me on the path.
Are you serious? You can get a PhD in happiness?
Yes, you can.
I wonder what you do with that. Spread it around. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of research out there, and it's back probably the late 80s, early 90s. We have some pioneers in the field that have really expanded this area of science and study that is showing and quantitatively showing us statistics of what positive emotions and happiness actually does for one. And so since I learned what it was like to be so unhappy and now be happy through educating myself and becoming an expert in that, that I now teach my clients, whether it be private clients or organizations, on how to actually leverage the positive emotions that we all have, that we all have the ability to exude and exercise and achieve the purpose of why we do what we do.
I love that. There's a philosophy out there, and I don't know to whom it belongs, but it's give your pain a purpose. And it sounds like that's what you did. It's like, okay, I know this is not the way companies and individuals in companies are supposed to be operating, so let me make it right, you know.
Right.
That's kind of how I got involved in ICF. I went to a meeting and went, you know, I don't know, I don't get anything out of this. And it was like, and when they asked me to be on the board, and I know you're on the board of ICF New Jersey, it was like, okay, I could say no because I don't really like what's going on, or I could, you know, work to fix it. So I was like, let's go positive. I like that. So tell me how Coaching to Greatness came about.
So I really think I came across the name when I was reading a book.
I like it.
And I thought, wow, this is really great. This is what we all have, greatness, but we're going to coach to your greatness. And so that's how I really thought. And the number 2 is showing that it is something done together. So greatness is not just,
I like that. Yeah.
Right, is not just you showing up and stepping into it, but it's the partnership and the synergy and the collaboration that comes with working with others to allow that to happen.
So what do you actually do at Coaching to Greatness?
So I'm the CEO and founder, and I also
So you do everything.
do everything,
yes.
And I also do provide workshops, retreats, one-on-one private coaching, group coaching, team coaching. We're going to work just specifically with teams, and executive coaching. So a big umbrella of services that I can offer to clients, whether they be private or organizations, companies, small businesses, that are really looking to have a place that people, A, want to come to and that are excited to and are happy to be there to contribute, and have the person feel that way about that place. So not
Is
just...
that a growing trend, fingers crossed, with companies now that they realize that it's not only money, it's you have to create an atmosphere where people really want to hang with you, or is that getting bigger, I hope? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a trend that will fade in terms of our generations and what is fading out in terms of baby boomers, and what is fading in, and where we see that going is really impacting the way people want to show up at work, and they don't want to show up like their fathers or their grandfathers did. And so now people understand and know, because we have so many opportunities, that if I'm going to go there, most people want to feel like they're making a difference. And if the environment doesn't support that, well, then they're not going to probably stay and not stay in a healthy way.
Yeah, I know that a study of maybe a couple of years ago said that the number one reason that people leave their position is not money, it's not more vacation, it's appreciation. They want to be appreciated. They want to feel needed. And it's interesting because I know I switched my niche in 2008 when everything started, the economy started collapsing on it. So because I had an HR background, it was like, oh, okay, how can you not help people? But it was, I found people were like ready for a change and ready for a whole different kind of fulfillment. They weren't hanging in there for their 25-year retirement and gold watch. That was like, okay, I played by the rules are gone. All the rules are gone, so that didn't pay off. Now I may as well do what I want to do and be happy doing it. And it was a whole different attitude, all clouded in fear, because everyone was fearful then. I think it's calmed down a little bit. So that, when did you start coaching to greatness?
It's 2009.
Perfect, okay.
Yep,
yeah.
so just a year after you were talking.
Just this, when I did the switch,
Yeah, and it's true. It still is the number one benefactor that people want to feel when they're in a place is that they're appreciated.
Yeah.
And more so, I'll add to that, authentically appreciated, truly, not just, hey, good job, and it means nothing. It can't be empty.
Right.
And so that takes time, that takes trust, that takes commitment, it takes dedication for people to really understand how to appreciate, because how you want to be appreciated may be different than someone else. And so there's a landscape that leadership and just individuals need to know about themselves. And what is it that they want to be appreciated for? What do they want to contribute? And how do they want to receive that and give it? Because there's definitely the reciprocity factor of that giving back and receiving that is important to know between you and your employers or just you and yourself.
What are some of the challenges that a person looking for individual gratification and happiness on the job, what are some of the challenges that you help them overcome?
Well, I think when you're unhappy, you just want to get out now.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this definite impulse to complain and, just constantly ruminate.
Fix your resume.
Yeah,
all that
you
stuff,
really want to, I find that oftentimes people are just ranting about it so much and not really stopping to see where there may be an opportunity before they actually exit and not put themselves into immediate crisis because of their unhappiness. So
pause is number one.
Pause.
I love that.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like calm down.
Just stop,
Deep
take
breath.
a breath. Exactly. Sounds like common sense, but not common practice.
No, I mean, because what happens is I find that people just take it, and then they reach this point where I can't take another insult, I can't take another day, and that's it. They do want to jump ship. So your first recommendation is calm down.
Right.
Relax.
Just pause. Let's just take a breath and give yourself the opportunity to just feel what you're feeling, not deny that for sure. And then just take some inventory. What is really true? What is really going on here for you that is triggering you or getting you really upset and, has you reeling about it for days and days and days.
Yeah.
I can't believe so-and-so, and it goes on for a month.
Yes.
And that is one thing I think when people do take some inventory, they realize how much they're allowing that to interfere and distract from where it is they want to go.
Yeah, I like the word inventory because what I sometimes do with some of my clients is it's like, okay, what's working for you? Let's get to the positive, and then we can see, okay, are all these things worth trying to change the negative, or do you really need to move along and get another plan? But yeah, so I love the inventory part. And so if you're going to work and you're not happy, is there, besides contacting you, I mean, what would you tell people to do? Do the inventory, take a breath, do the inventory, and then what? Consult a coach? Or
yeah, I mean, absolutely consult a coach. But, if they're not at that point yet, I would just ask them to look at what would be the benefit, kind of the pros and cons. What's the benefit to just stay where you're at? What is the benefit to leave? What is the benefit to to get up and just leave now, right? So just to be able to ask yourself a couple of questions as to what are the pros and cons of me leaving and what are the pros and cons to me staying. And I think when people can really look at that objectively, put it on paper is another, what we have in our mind, another thought comes in and bumps that out. So, put it on paper, leaving, staying, pros and cons, and just start flushing it all out. And I think you'd be surprised not just what you'll uncover, but what's really manageable, tolerable for you as you're thinking about what it is that you want to do next, and what is an absolute not that you don't want to repeat the next place or the next decision you make.
I love it. It's something as simple as just writing a pros and con list. Or if, like IPEC has a whole structure, and Erica and I both graduated from IPEC, right? A whole pain gain thing, which you can do with that for coaching. And this, the coaching game has a gain and loss thing. So there are so many ways to flush out. It's like, okay, what's really bothering me, and what is it that I really want? Because I find when I ask clients, well, what do you really want? I get like, they've never thought about it. It's like they know what they don't want. Oh boy, do they know that! But thinking about what they really want, it's like kind of crazy, and a whole new thought to them. So what can employers do to create an atmosphere where employees want to come and will be satisfied, even if the work is grueling and the pace is rough? What do you tell employers to do? Because you work both sides of the fence, right? Which is so good and so challenging also, because you can get both perspectives, but it must be hard when to bring them both together. So what can employers do?
Yeah, for employers, I mean, it's important for the leadership to be able to do what it is that they say they're going to do, because I think that's a definite conflict that people complain about mostly is like, well, they say these are our values, but they don't live them, or they break the rules, and then they tell us we should do that. So I would say for the employer, if you're going to institute something like an appreciation program, to really understand why you're doing it and be connected to it. What does it mean to you to be doing this program that you have of appreciation? Or what does it mean to you to appreciate? Like, let's all get clear on the definition if that's something just important. Maybe your definition is different than mine.
That's interesting.
So let's just talk about our language here for a minute so we all have that common language of what that means.
Yeah, okay. I can see where that could be conflicting. It's like, okay, the employer's thinking, oh, okay, you don't ever take a sick day. And the employee's thinking, oh, I have enough time that I can go get my kid from school if I have to or something. So it's like, okay, totally different. That's interesting, yeah. I would almost recommend, not being the expert that you are, I would almost recommend that at some point the both sides sit down and go, okay, here's what we mean and what do you want,
Right.
and try to get it together.
Yeah, the transparency of that is incredible, to just be able to sit down if you do decide to say, okay, we're going to institute an appreciation program, that everyone really also has some input too, in terms of saying, so what would you like? And then put it all together and then roll it out to everyone and be really transparent
the
with
old
it.
famous buy-in, get them to say, okay, then, this is it. And to realize that, yes, 100 sick days of the year would be very nice, but no business would get done and you wouldn't have a job. So you have to see it from everybody's point of view. Points of view. But, all right, so let's just go with a card and see what you come up with. We're having them all face down, and just pick a card and we'll speak to it. What's calling to you?
Let's see what's calling to me. Push them back here. Let's see.
There's one there that has your name on it, I'm sure.
Name. Okay.
Okay.
Turn it over?
Yeah. Alone. Wow, now that's interesting. Alone. Speak to that, if you will. Alone in the context of coaching to greatness.
Yeah, I think a lot of businesses and private individuals, just people, can feel really alone in a job that they're really unhappy in. Yeah. And I hear often that it's not what I thought it was going to be, and now that I've risen to this level, I feel either alone, or I don't have the support, or no one understands me. And I think when you're unhappy, it really adds a greater layer to that loneliness, that you're kind of carrying a big weight on your shoulders because this is what you thought you wanted and you got there, and it's either not what it's cracked up to be, or you thought that the employer was going to treat you a certain way, or you were going to have certain benefits or expectations, and now you're not, and you're feeling really alone.
Interesting. Yeah, I had someone on who works with female top management, and the statistics for females who make it to top management and staying are 20%. And I went, really? And I went, oh, well, that's me. Okay. It's like, and that was her.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so something's going on there that, you know, people are either feeling alone. Now, what's interesting is on this card, the child is in a swing, and she's quite happy being alone. So I think I would add to your great message. It's like alone is when you can actually take the time to see what is working for you and what isn't working for you, and then I guess and apply, see if you can fit in actually to your company's mission and your company's reality, you know, of that. So, and it could be that what you think is going to make you happy, you're not going to find at your company. I don't know. You could speak to that better than me, I think, you know. But I'm sure that's some of the problems. It's like, so I guess, again, definition is good. Take a pause, take an inventory, and alone doesn't mean that you have to be miserable. But if you feel alienated, like you're not a part of the group, yeah. So I think maybe the definition between alone and alienated, you know, it's like alone is okay. Sometimes you need to be alone to do your best work. Yeah.
Right. And I think to step back and look at the situation and address it, to give yourself alone time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you were saying, you know, so to really be able to say, what do I need to do for me, just to give myself the space to do that.
That is so important, alone time. Yeah, I love that, because it's like, yeah, because you get into the rut and it's like 9 to 5 and you got to be there and there's a deadline and it's constantly, but it's like, what time do you take for yourself? So maybe that alone time could just alleviate a lot of the stress that you're feeling on your job. Oh, I love that, yeah.
And not taking work home, or if you can avoid to do that.
Right,
and I would say to give yourself that time, you've also got to give yourself the permission.
Yeah.
Because
and
we
value
can get
it.
caught up in that cycle that takes over. So.
Time is money, and production, and blah, blah, blah. But this child is swinging all by herself and quite happy. And so, yeah, I think that might be, I love that. I love that motto. It's like, you know, take a little time to be by yourself and be alone. Give yourself some alone time.
And you actually might find that you would be, like the little girl, is happy because you might realize what you haven't had a chance to realize by not giving yourself that time.
Yes, yes.
So you actually could tap into some of that joy inside of going, wow, this is really great. Like, I don't have people screaming or demands or whatever is going on around you.
Yeah, alone is good sometimes. You don't have chattering, and you don't have, it's funny, I sometimes do analysis, profile analysis, and almost everybody, when they're, you know, having to deal with a team, they go, oh, I'm a good team member, but they don't like working in teams. So I'm a good team member if I can lead the team. It's like, okay, that's kind of different. But so sometimes not being a part of the team is beneficial too, and rewarding, and rewarding. We might have time for one more. I'm going to draw one and then bug you with a question. How unfair is that? How unfair is that?
I'm up for it.
Let's see. Let's go. I think this one wants us to say ego.
Whoa.
Wow. Ego. Okay. Yeah, what place does your ego play in your professional life?
For me. I've never picked this card.
Me either. Ego.
I've never even seen it.
Swan who is
right, and looking at
the reflection. Yeah, the reflection is at the bottom, so it's a double thing.
Well, I think just the word ego, if we kind of go back to what it's there for, is to really protect you so that you're not making decisions that aren't going to serve you in just the simplest terms that I can make for myself. But if we feed it more than we want to in terms of that, then it becomes really our voice that's telling us what to do. So for me with ego, in terms of my professional world, I think giving back, making time for others, you know, really walking the walk and talking the talk with my clients is something that keeps my ego in check.
I like that. And what I noticed is we've managed to pick 2 cards that have negative influences. You know, you don't want to have a big ego and you don't want to be alone, God forbid. And yet I think we're making them positive, and that's just, and that is exactly what you do with your coaching business. To me, ego would be, don't let your ego get lost in the fact that you are a part of this working field. You know, still be yourself, and again, still give yourself the alone time, and be true to your values. And if you can, the ideal situation would be to find a company that is copacetic with your values.
Right.
But if you can't, then there are ways to maintain your values. And you know, just because everyone else is doing this and you don't feel that it's right, then you have a decision to make. But I think let your ego be your guide in the sense of this is important to me, but I like what you're saying, reflecting on others. It's not all about you.
Right.
And don't let it get lost in there, and don't give it away to someone. So.
And the other point I was thinking, which was great to your point, at least for me, I need time alone to quiet that ego,
exactly.
or to not allow myself to get wrapped up in listening to it all day long. So I think giving yourself the time as well not just helps you see what's going around and kind of letting things settle around you and, you know, not being charged around it, but if you just look at the alone time, gives you time to kind of quiet the ego and not let that be something that could be really screaming loud and taking over.
You know what? I like that a lot, because I'm thinking, like, okay, as coaches sometimes they go, well, we only have X amount of clients and we should have more, you know? And yet, I think if that's someone else's standard, and that's your ego going, I should be better than this person or that person. But really, I think if you're true to your inner core, it's like, okay, I have 5 clients, and I am going to do the best job in the world for them, and I'm going to take them from here to here, and they're going to be so happy when they finish with me and go back to work, or the business is going to be so transformed. We have a minute, believe it or not.
Oh my God,
I know.
so fast.
And I love this. I love that we've taken 2 cards that most people go, alone and ego. But, thanks to Erica, we've managed to do some positive psychology here. So I'm going to recommend that you check it out. Check out coachingtogreatness.org, which is at the bottom of the page. And find out, are they going to find some tips on there, like how to be a little happier, and some?
Yeah, I have some free assessments. I also have
great.
The opportunity for people to use a journal software with my clients, so they could also have access to coaching in between their sessions, as well as record their information and get insights from a written perspective and not just from conversation
definitely
perspective.
Worth checking out. Erica, thank you so much for being on the Coaching Game. This was so much fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.